Ave Maria, and welcome to episode 16 of Marian Shrines of the World, Our Lady of Good Success. Mariana Francesca Torres was born in Spain in 1563. On the day of her first communion, at the age of 9, Our Lady appeared to her and told her she was destined to be a religious of the Immaculate Conception in the New World. In 1577, when Mariana was only 13 years old, she left Spain in the company of her aunt and 4 other religious sisters to found a new house of the Order of the Immaculate Conception in San Francisco de Quito, the capital of Ecuador. This order is also known as the Conceptionists, which follow the Poor Clare rule. In 1582, when Mother Mariana was praying before the Blessed Sacrament for the first time, she was given to see the heresy, blasphemy and impurity that would inundate the world as punishment in the 20th century. Our Lady asked her, "My daughter, will you sacrifice yourself for the people of this time?" Mother Mariana replied, "I am willing." From the shock of previewing the horrors of our day, Mother Mariana fainted. Eventually, Mother Mariana was chosen to be abbess in place of her ailing aunt, who died soon after. On February the 2nd, 1594, as Mother Mariana was praying, Our Lady appeared to her carrying the child Jesus. Our Lady appeared many times to Mother Mariana, and as on January the 16th, 1599, commanded a statue to be made to her likeness. Mother Mariana used her religious habit cord to measure Our Lady's height. The cord miraculously stretched because it was too short. Our Lady promised the sisters, when tribulations of spirit and sufferings of the body oppress them and they seem to be drowning in their bottomless sea, let them gaze at my holy image, and I will always be there ready to listen to their cries and soothe their pain. Tell them that they should always run to their mother with confidence and love. In a subsequent apparition, Our Lady gave solemn warnings about the 20th century. She said passions will erupt and there will be total corruption of morals, for Satan will reign almost completely by means of the Masons. They will focus primarily on the children in order to sustain their general corruption. Woe to the children of these times! It will be difficult to receive the sacrament of baptism and also that of confirmation. She also said this battle would reach its most acute stage because of various unfaithful religious who, under the appearance of virtue, with bad-spirited zeal, would turn upon religion, who nourished them at her breast. During this time, she continued, the sacrament of extreme unction will be little esteemed. Many people will die without receiving it, either because of the negligence of their families or their false sentimentality that tries to protect the sick from seeing the gravity of their situations, or because they will rebel against the spirit of the Catholic Church, empowered by the malice of the devil. Thus many souls will be deprived of the innumerable graces, consolations and the strength they need to make that great leap from time to eternity. As for the Sacrament of Matrimony, which symbolises the union of Christ with his Church, it will be attacked and profaned in the fullest sense of the word. Freemasonry, which will then be in power, will enact iniquitous laws with the object of doing away with this sacrament, making it easy for everyone to live in sin, encouraging the procreation of illegitimate children born without the blessing of the Church. The Christian spirit will rapidly decay, extinguishing the precious light of faith until it reaches a point that there will be an almost total and general corruption of customs. The effects of secular education will increase, which will be one reason for the lack of priestly and religious vocations. The sacrament of holy orders will be ridiculed, oppressed and despised. The demon will try to persecute the ministers of the Lord in every possible way, and he will labour with cruel and subtle astuteness to deviate them from the spirit of their vocation, corrupting many of them. These corrupted priests, who will scandalise the Christian people, will incite the hatred of the bad Christians and the enemies of the Roman, Catholic and Apostolic Church to fall upon all priests. This apparent triumph of Satan will bring enormous suffering to the good pastors of the Church. Moreover, in these unhappy times, there will be unbridled luxury, which, acting thus to snare the rest into sin, will conquer innumerable frivolous souls who will be lost. She warned that the devil would assiduously try to destroy the sacrament of confession and Holy Communion. She lamented the many sacrileges and abuses of the sacred sacrament that would occur. Innocence will almost no longer be found in children, nor modesty in women, and in this supreme moment of need of the Church, those who should speak will fall silent. Over the course of 10 years, Mother Mariana struggled with the issue of completing the statue. Many obstacles prevented its sculpturing. Early on the morning of February the 2nd, 1610, Our Lady appeared again to Mother Mariana and repeated her command to have the statue made. Then she added, "Tell the bishop that this is my will and the will of my most holy Son, that your name be hidden at all costs, for it is not fitting for anyone at the present time to know the details or origins of how this statue came to be made. For this knowledge will only become known to the general public in the 20th century. The sculptor of the statue of Our Lady of Good Success, Francesco del Castillo, was actually named for his work by Our Lady herself, for he was a talented sculptor and a devotee of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The sculptor had travelled to Europe in order to obtain the best quality paints for the statue, yet during his absence, early in the morning of January the 16th, 1611, Mother Mariana saw in a vision the Most Holy Trinity, the Most Holy Virgin Mary, the 9 choirs of angels, and in particular the archangels, St. Michael, St. Gabriel and St. Raphael, together with St. Francis of Assisi. These last 4 approached the statue and finished the work which the sculptor had intended to finish. Then she saw Our Lady enter into and animate the statue. Mother Mariana, the bishop and the sculptor each testified that the statue was not finished by human hands and that it must be the work of angels. The statue was blessed on February the 2nd, 1611. On that day she was placed above the seat of the abbess chair at her own specific request, as a sign to all that she was the one who governed and watched over the convent, her official title being that of Mary of Good Success of the Purification. The feast day of Our Lady of Good Success is celebrated on February the 2nd, the day she appeared to Mother Mariana, along with the archangels and St. Francis of Assisi, thus coinciding with the feast of the Purification of Our Lady, now commonly referred to as the Feast of the Presentation of our Lord. On January 16, 1635, surrounded by her community and her Franciscan confessors, Mother Mariana made a solemn profession of faith and then asked, as a last favour, to die on the ground in imitation of her seraphic father, St. Francis. After receiving Holy Communion and the Sacrament of Extreme Unction, she foretold the exact hour of her death, 3 p.m. Just before she died, she read her last will and testament, a moving testimony that gave her daughters inestimable advice about the religious life, along with many prophecies concerning the order. At its end, she turned to the priests, "My fathers and sisters, the time has come for me to depart. Recommend my soul to God with the appropriate prayers. I thank you for everything. Always, I beseech you, have this convent and your sisters in your care. I die joyously and peacefully in the arms of my mother, the Seraphic Order." 2 tears rolled down her cheek. She sighed, and with an angelic smile, that blessed soul left her body. The time was 3 p.m. After death, her body remained flexible, her complexion rosy, and the charming smile on her face gave her every appearance of being alive. During the wake, the sight of a blind girl was restored when a flower from the crown that encircled Mother Mariana's head was touched to her eyes. Almost 300 years later, in 1906, during the remodelling of the convent, her tomb was opened. They discovered that the body of Mother Mariana, whole and incorrupt, complete with her habit and the articles of penance that had been placed in the tomb with her. The bodies of the 5 other founding mothers were also found incorrupt and are now enshrined in the convent. The Church was bestowed the title of Venerable upon Mother Mariana, a title given to a deceased person who has attained a certain degree of sanctity. The Church approved the apparitions on February the 2nd, 1611, but it is only in the last part of the 20th century that the apparitions have become known outside of Ecuador. In the next episode of Marian Shrines to the World, we will conclude our presentation of the apparitions and messages of Our Lady of Good Success. Please join us then. Ave Maria.